Hi guys, I'm Kate and welcome back to my channel. I just started doing a short foster care series where I'm going to be releasing a new video each week related to foster care. My first video was about our first placement that my husband and I had. It was a newborn from the NICU, and if you want to check out that video, I'm going to link it up above, and I'll also leave it in the description below just in case you want to wait until after this video to watch it. You don't have to watch them in order, but make sure you check out that video. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you would like to see the rest of the videos in this foster care series. And leave below a comment if you have an idea of a video that should be in my series, but I have some ideas right now, a couple more that I'm thinking of. This video is going to be all the tips about how to get licensed as fast as possible, or at whatever speed works for your family, of course, but I know that when I was trying to get licensed, I wanted to do everything as quickly as possible because I was so excited and I'm very impatient and I wanted to get started right away and get on that call list. Hopefully this video will be able to help you do just that. So let's get into the video. First, I just want to start by saying these tips might not work for every agency because I know every agency has their own procedures that they have to follow, so you might have to do certain things before you can skip to the next step. But these are just tips which worked for me in my agency and some things that I wish I would have known at the beginning, so that way I could have maybe saved myself a little bit more time. But my husband and I got our license in 4 months, so that's already pretty fast. My licensing worker was pretty surprised on how fast we got licensed. She said usually it takes 6 months at least, and that's if you're going pretty fast, so we did get licensed pretty quickly. My first tip is to make sure that you get fingerprinted right away. Make sure you set up that appointment right away because some places it can take a little while to get in to get fingerprinted, and also once they send out the fingerprints, it can take quite a while to get those back. I think we got ours back pretty quickly, like 3 or 4 weeks, but I mean that's still a while that you have to wait. So if you can do that first thing, then by the time you're done with all the other steps, because there are a lot of steps, then hopefully your fingerprints will be back by then, and that can be the first thing you do. If you can get those done right away, then hopefully you will end up getting the results before you're ready to get licensed, and you can get that out of the way. My second tip is to make sure you fill out your paperwork fast. I think I took a couple days to fill out my paperwork, and I know that kind of sounds crazy because there's a lot of paperwork, and you can take your time. There's no need to rush to get all this stuff done, but if you want to get your license as fast as possible, these are just tips to try to help you do that. So maybe even just take 1 week and set a goal that you're going to get all of your paperwork filled out and then get it turned into your licensing worker. If you have a home study planned right away, then you can just even get it all filled out over the course of the week and then turn it all into your licensing worker when they come for your home study. That way, she can get that paperwork all back and she can start her report because they have to be able to turn in their report at the end to the state for it to get approved and you to get your license. My third tip is to make sure you schedule your home study as quickly as possible so you can get on your licensing workers list and they can get out to your house because they're going to need to come to your house a few times. I'm sure every agency does things a little bit differently, but usually they want to come to your house at least a couple times, if not 3 or 4 times, just to meet with you and get everything done. So if you get on their list right away, then that way maybe a week later you can get on their list for a second visit if you're ready to have the next visit at that time. But get that first initial placement planned right away as soon as they can come out if you're ready for that, if you have all the paperwork done and you have some of the other requirements met. In my case, I tried to get on her list right away because, like I said, I'm very impatient and I was ready for her to come out. Tip number 4 is to get your well and septic inspected as soon as possible if you have a well and septic, because you have to get on their list, the county's list, for them to come out. And also it takes a little bit for them to do up that report and send it in to your licensing worker. And if you have an issue, then you'll know sooner rather than later if you have an issue that you have to fix with your well and septic. But that's tip number 4. Tip number 5, this is a big one because this saves a lot of time during the home study itself. It might not save a lot of time in getting your license, but when your licensing worker comes over to do your home study, this will make the visit that he or she has to stay there shorter. So fill out your questionnaire packet before they come. And I don't know if this is allowed in all agencies, but in my agency, my licensing worker always sends me my packet that I have to fill out for renewal, or just for the first time we had a home study, she sent it to me as well. And you can fill out all those questions, because these questions cover so many areas. It's pretty invasive, and you have to, what are some things you have to answer? You have to answer, have you had a past serious relationship? Why did it end? Have you been abused in your life, and what did that abuse look like? How did your parents discipline you? How do you plan to discipline your children? Have you had any losses recently? What were those losses? These are some deep questions that you have to answer, and if you can think of those things before you start the interview, they might still ask you about some of these questions. You might have to expound on them, but if you can at least have an answer wrote down, then they might just read it and kind of skip over it because you already wrote your answer down, and you don't have to talk about every single little detail in the packet, because there are a lot. So if you can get that filled out, you will make your licensing worker's job a lot easier, because you won't have to write down everything you say, and you will save yourself some time, and you will get to think about those questions rather than just being put on the spot and have to give an answer right then and there. And your licensing worker will ask you for a bunch of items that you'll have to get printed out for her, or you'll have to email to her. So make sure you have all of these things ready for her when she comes, with all the paperwork that you had to fill out. You'll have to collect pay stubs, bills you'll have to print out, bank statements they might ask for, credit card statements. You'll have to schedule doctor's appointments to get physicals, and then make sure you set those physicals right away, because if it takes a while to get into your doctor, then you might want to schedule that right away. And you'll have to have those forms filled out, signed by the doctor, and then you can have those in the pile of things that you need to give to her. Also, you'll have to get certified in CPR and basic first aid, and if you want a good website to do that on, First Aid for Free. It's so easy. It takes maybe a half an hour to complete each course, and then you can print out a certificate for each course and put those in your pile of paperwork that you need to give to your licensing worker. So if you can have all those papers gathered and all the papers filled out, the questionnaire filled out, then when your licensing worker comes to your home study for the first home study, you can give her all that stuff, him or her. I keep saying her because our licensing worker is a woman, so that just keeps coming out, but then you can give them all that stuff, and they will be very thankful, and you'll get your license quicker because they'll be able to start the report quicker. Tip number 6 is to make sure you sign up for your Pride classes right away, because that can sometimes take a while to get into, and if you don't inquire about when Pride classes are, you might end up missing out on a certain class in your area. Sometimes you have to travel for these classes if they don't offer them right away in your area and you want to take them right away to get your license. But we ended up finding one that was, it might have been like a half an hour to 45-minute drive away, and it was over a weekend, so that was awesome. We just got Pride classes over within one weekend. We just had to go for, I think, 8 hours on Friday and 8 hours on Saturday, or Saturday and Sunday, I can't remember. And it was out of the way, it was completed. And that's kind of rare, because a lot of times it'll be like 2 nights a week for 5 weeks or something like that, which that would have been very inconvenient for us. And it was just a lot easier to get it all over with in one weekend. So if you get lucky like us, you can maybe accomplish that in one weekend, but you still might have to wait a few weeks, a few months for those classes to pop up, depending on which classes fit your schedule. So make sure you inquire about Pride classes right away. Tip number 7 is to make sure to have as many of these things checked off your list as possible before your licensing worker comes over to do your home study. And even if you get the first home study done and you have all that paperwork done and they come kind of check out your house first before you accomplish this list, that's fine, because they might have to come back a second or third time anyways. They might have to make more visits than just one to your house, even if you have everything done. But try to get as many of these things checked off your list by the second visit at least. You need to have a home phone line, and you need to have an emergency plan posted by your home phone, and phone numbers, emergency phone numbers in case someone's at your house watching the child and they need to call someone. You need to have smoke detectors and carbon monoxide detectors. You of course need your nursery set up with a crib and a place for children to put their items, so either like a dresser or a closet, depending on rules of your agency again. But my agency said it was fine if there wasn't a closet available in the room to just have a dresser. you need to make sure that your chemicals, any cleaning supplies, any medications are in a locked cupboard or in a locked box in a cupboard if you don't have like a cabinet that locks. If you have any weapons in the homes or hazardous materials, they need to be locked up. If you have firearms, I don't know about for every agency, but our agency has a rule that your firearms have to be locked in one safe or metal locking department, and then your ammunition has to be locked up in another box, and it has to be so far away from the firearms, like you have to be able to walk to it. It can't be like right next to it, or it can't be inside the same safe. So that's kind of weird, but you have to do that too. So if you can have some of these things checked off the list, and I'm not saying this is everything because you will find more things that you have to do probably, but these are the most time-consuming things and the things that took the most work for us. So if you can get some of those things done before your licensing worker comes over, then things will run a lot faster for you. I hope this video helped, and if I'm missing any tips, you can comment those down below for anyone else watching, because I'm sure I missed some things. It's been a year and a half since we've been licensed, and this is just things that I was thinking of off of the top of my head because we just got our annual renewal done, and I had to do a lot of these things again. So thank you so much for watching this video, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you want to see the rest of the videos in this series, and don't forget to give this video a thumbs up to let me know if you're enjoying these foster care videos and if I should continue to make more of them. See you in the next video.